Hey guys, David here and welcome to another Dark Art Guitars workshop video. Today I want to talk a bit about this channel, what it's going to be like moving forward, and also give you a tour of my about 18 square meter workshop where I build custom guitars and have been doing so for a bit over 2 years now. Now, before we get into the workshop goodness and I show you all around here all the different things that I use to build my guitars, quick word about this channel. So if you don't care at all about this channel and you just found this video randomly, feel free to skip this part. Now, a lot of you might remember that 2 years ago I made a very similar video to this one. It was standing about right here, except all the stuff was a bit more empty and less overcrowded. And then I announced that I was kind of going full in on guitar building, and that has been working great for at least 2 years since. I've built over 24 guitars since I made this video, and there's no plans on stopping anytime soon. Quite the opposite, actually. But this channel has kind of been a bit up and down. I've made a bunch of guitar videos, though I've built a lot more guitars than I've shown on here. If you want to see all the other ones, feel free to visit my website or check me out on Instagram. There I post about all of them. But besides the point, I've also still made a couple of videos about like my new CNC that I built that is to the left of me, but this kind of puts me in a weird position where this channel on the one hand is about guitar building, woodworking, and on the other hand about CNC machining, which, well, for me that is the perfect overlap, and I'm sure there's a couple out there of you that also find this a perfect overlap. It's not really great for the YouTube algorithm. So long story short, I've decided to kind of split these two different hobbies into two separate channels. So this channel will go back to what it was before I started building guitars, which is just about all the different things I'm doing in the workshop. So about CNC, I will have a whole series about upgrading my CNC further that is coming out very shortly, and other behind the scenes content about my workshop and all of that. And then I've created a new channel called Dark Art Guitars. This one, as you might have already seen, has been renamed to Dark Art Guitars Workshop and will probably be eventually renamed to just Dark Art Workshop, but I'm keeping the guitars in there for now, so just so it's a bit less confusing. But on the main channel, Dark Art Guitars, which right now I think only has about 50 subscribers, so make sure to go change that down below. On there I will post all of the future guitar builds, and so if you want to see those, make sure to go follow over there. Those are going to be more like highly produced videos with voiceovers showing the exact build of a guitar or maybe a certain aspect of it. Whereas on here, I want to make a lot more videos than I have been doing in the last 2 years, but they're not going to be maybe quite as highly produced, but just kind of showing what I'm up to. So with that update out of the way, let's focus back in on this workshop. This is my parents' basement, which has been great because, well, it's rent-free. But these 18 square meters that I have here to myself are great, but definitely are starting to become the limit. As I show you around here, you'll see that there's stuff literally everywhere, and there is not a free square inch for anything. So as part of this 2026, I am actually hoping to move to a bigger workshop. Well, you will definitely see on this channel here if that happens, and I'll have a full kind of moving vlog build series of the new place. But that is still up in the air for now. So behind me, you can see my tool wall. This has been here since the beginning, and I've just added a couple more things to it, but overall it's been largely the same. These are all the tools that I use frequently, but I have started to kind of outgrow it, and instead of making new holders, I got an additional tool chest here, which holds a lot of my other tools, and I have some like more specific tools in here. I'll show you close in a second. Additionally, you can see that I've also added some small part storage here for my end mills, and on the other side for a lot of the small things that I use in guitar building. My clamps rack here has not changed at all. Turns out this half-an-hour project was a really good choice, and it's holding all of my clamps really well, and it's super convenient. Beneath here, you can see a common theme that you will notice, and that is a stack of, in this case, maple burl guitar tops, which can be for future guitars. I have wood literally everywhere in this workshop, and this was just a free spot, so that's where I'm keeping those. Up here, I'm hoping this is not out of frame yet. I added another shelf that just allows me to keep some other stuff, like all of my radiusing jigs for the guitar fretboard, as well as some of the kind of parts for coming guitars, like custom orders and stuff. So I have some pickups and bridges up here. This area down here has kind of gotten worse for wear. I've just run out of space to put stuff. So here I have my arbor press that I use to press in the frets, and whenever I'm not using it, it collects everything. And same here, I have like some chisels that I used on a recent project that is just kind of living on top of the stuff here. This little tool chest here has been really great addition, quite like it. I have a lot of my glues up here. I use a whole bunch of different super glues. You might not think it, but guitar building uses a lot of super glue. So I have like thin stuff, medium stuff, thick stuff, some epoxy, accelerator for the super glue. Then in here I keep all of my fretwork tools. So this drawer is like completely full just with tools using for fretting. Turns out there's a lot of specific tools for that. Then below it I have a drawer with a lot of wood veneer that I've made myself that I use for different inlays and other small decorations, stuff like that. And then on the bottom I keep other inlay supplies. Mainly like glow-in-the-dark powders and different pigments and powders that I use with epoxy, as well as some like other larger materials. Like for example this power shell that I used for block inlays on a guitar recently. Down here is a lot of my other kind of tools and materials storage. Here on the right I have a drawer with mostly stuff for the CNC. So I have all of my additional tool holders in here, with Gridfinity of course. Then the next one is a lot of like fixturing things, as well as like indicators and other measuring equipment that I use for the CNC. Then I have here my opt laser. This has been really nice. I made a video about that. If you haven't seen it already, I can link it down below. This I can just magnetically attach to my CNC and instantly convert it from a CNC to a laser cutter. So I keep all of that stuff down in here. And then there is just some other miscellaneous stuff, as well as more just parts for upcoming guitar builds, like bridges and strings and all of that good stuff. Here's some material storage, all of my different stains for staining the guitars, as well as some more finishing supplies. This here has been a super great investment. It's the Festool Rotex 90. So this is the sander. It has a head which is only 90 millimeters, which is actually great for guitar building, as most kind of larger random orbital sanders are just too big and you end up not being able to reach most spots. I also really like how the handle is kind of back here. That just gives you a lot of very fine control about the exact angle that you're holding it. You can also switch it between just regular random orbit sand mode. You can switch it to locked sanding mode, where it like doesn't rotate. I don't really use that at all. But what I do use for like more aggressive sanding, mainly for like sculpting of material, you can kind of lock it so that it always rotates. So it's essentially just a spinning sander, like a disc sander. And this with some like 80 or 120 grit can move a lot of material. It also has amazing dust collection, which is quite convenient for a sander. Now it's not cheap, but I have not found another sander that does so much work in one, and it has definitely already more than paid for itself in time saved with hand sanding. But enough shilling for Festool. They aren't sponsoring me and probably never will, and it's also my only Festool product. In here is just all the abrasives for it. It was cheaper to get it in this nice sustainer than to just buy a sample of all the different grits individually. So, well, now I have convenient storage for it. These drawers house more of other supplies like epoxy in here. I use that for all kinds of things on the guitars, either to stabilize it, to grain fill it, as well as to kind of fill larger voids. I also have my vacuum bagging stuff in here. I use this to glue on the tops as well as the fretboards. And the rest is just other smaller miscellaneous stuff. And over here you can probably just about see more mess. If I turn a bit more, it becomes more obvious. So this here in the corner under the desk is actually my spray booth. And you might think that doesn't look like a very usable spray booth, but it's actually like a grow tent that I can set up here and have a full like proper spray booth with filters and extraction, which is really nice to have that in such a small space and be able to put it away. But on the downside, it is not perfect, as well as whenever I have it set up, half of my workshop is kind of not accessible. I cannot access any of these drawers here and none of the drawers that are back here either, because the tent is in the way. I can also not really access any of my clamps, so it's a bit of a pain, and it does take about like half an hour to 45 minutes to set it up and tear it down. So it's not something I just want to set up every day. So usually leave it set up and finish a couple of guitars and then tear it back down. You can also see a bit of a teaser for an upcoming CNC upgrade video. Not actually the next one, but the one after that. There's a big old vacuum pump down here and some POM material. I'll let you guess what that is going to be. So trading spaces with you guys. Here we are now over at the CNC, and I have a full build series, of course, about this CNC. You've probably already seen it, and it's been an absolute workhorse. And well, not really any major complaints. I am upgrading it with a couple of smaller things, as well as some bigger things that I just alluded to. So this will be coming out soon. But that's not because it's kind of not working, that's just because I want to do even more with it. Underneath it, I keep a lot of my fretboards here, basically all of the fretboards that I have in stock, as well as some guitar tops. And down here is mostly cut-offs of tops and other stuff like that, so more like nicely figured woods. I use a lot of that when I go and make like different inlays or head plates and all of that stuff. I go in here and look for a fitting piece of wood. On the other side, I have my compressor. You can just barely see the yellow thing here. It's quite a beefy Stanley model. It's one of their kind of silent compressors. It's definitely very much not silent, but compared to most just regular piston compressors, this one is a lot quieter. When it is running in here, I do not have to put on any ear protection, and it's just like a loud conversational volume. I could still talk to somebody, I'd have to just speak up a bit. Whereas with a regular compressor, if that is running in here, I had one before, I have to put on ear protection, otherwise my ears are gonna hurt. So definitely a great upgrade, and it for one supplies the CNC with air, which needs air for the automatic tool changer. It also provides air for just a regular kind of blow off, which is really convenient to be able to blow dust out of spaces in the guitar and stuff like that. And I can also use it for my spray booth with the spray gun. So it's definitely getting a lot of use, and I'm really quite happy with it. It has a 100-liter tank, which is plenty, and kind of good middle ground. Down here I also keep my other vacuum pump. That's the one I use for kind of the vacuum bagging, and so for gluing on the tops and fretboards onto my guitars. Resetting the camera over, I just noticed that I actually forgot to talk about my sander here. It's a Schepbach model, which can be either a spindle sander here or a belt sander. It is quite a crappy sander. It doesn't perfectly cut flat here, which is a bit annoying, and it makes a big ruckus, but it works, and I will definitely get a nicer belt sander and probably also spindle sander once I have a bigger workshop where I can fit it. But for this form factor, it does the job, but I don't use it all that much anymore, mainly because the belt sander does not create a perfectly flat surface. And the drill press over here, I also don't use a whole lot. It's just convenient to have around for whenever you need to drill a couple of holes and stuff. It's also not the greatest drill press in the world. I did actually break off the table at one point. I had to kind of put it back together, but it does its job. Here on my workbench, you saw me build this in the last workshop tour video. It definitely looked a lot cleaner back then, but it's actually been holding up fairly well, considering that this is just soft wood top and I've worked on it a lot. It's still looking fine. Now there's a bunch of scratches and things in it and stains from when I spilled stuff on it, but this just means that I'm not afraid to use it. But overall, I would definitely recommend building a softwood top if that fits in your budget versus hardwood top. This little vise here is absolutely amazing, and if you're a luthier, you probably already have one, and if you don't have one, you need to get one immediately. It can rotate all around, and then you can close the jaws here and the jaws can swivel. This allows you to clamp guitars and just about anything else. And thanks to the rubber on these jaws here, it doesn't scratch up your guitar and it holds really well. The rubber also makes it hold a lot tighter. Now it doesn't really work for holding like small metal parts. For that I still have like a regular metal vise. But for holding guitars while sanding and doing all kinds of other stuff, this is absolutely essential. Now these drawers here on the bottom, you can actually access from either side of the table, so wherever I'm working I can access them, and I keep a lot of my other tools, like a bunch of sanding stuff in here, some Dremel stuff, soldering iron, all of that stuff. Just out of frame here I also got a Foredom rotary tool. It's essentially like a Dremel with a flex shaft, except the Dremel with the flex shaft has even less power than a regular Dremel, which is already underpowered, and this Foredom tool has quite a bit more oomph. But other than that, it's essentially a glorified Dremel, and it's just really useful for doing small touch-ups and fixes. And I don't think I ever use it intentionally, but it gets me out of a lot of sticky situations. So this has been a fairly recent acquisition. It's an Anycubic Photon Mono M7 resin 3D printer. Since these have come down so much in price, I decided to just get one. I've mainly used it for making pickup bobbins so far, and some other like small fixtures and stuff. I don't use it a ton, but it's a convenient tool to have. And next to it I have the bath for washing the parts, as well as the curing station and some additional resins here. And this has kind of pushed my computer setup all the way to the corner, but that's okay. I don't use this computer super much. I essentially just use it for having Fusion open, having email open, stuff like that, and have still my Cryo PC in my apartment where I do most of my more computer intensive stuff. Continuing along this side, here is my Radtrick VCore 3. I built this quite a while ago and have a video about it as well. Just convenient to have a 3D printer around. It doesn't need to be this big, but it's nice. I can just throw whatever I want on there, let it print overnight, and it's good to go. Over top of it is my old laser cutter. I haven't really used it anymore at all since I got the Opt laser for the CNC, since that one is so much more powerful than this, but haven't really gotten around to selling it or anything, and I tend to use the top of it as a kind of shelf to put stuff on, so if I got rid of it I would have to build a proper shelf there, so I just haven't bothered yet. You can see right now there's a guitar up there that is drying with some epoxy fill. That's why it needs to sit horizontal. While down here I keep the other guitars which are kind of like in guitar shape already, like this one, which is just about to get some finish on there. It's a nice neck-through mahogany with an African blackwood top. Over here are my shop mascots. On the top lives Flame. He's a ball python, and on the bottom is Triss. She's a rainbow boa. They're mainly active at night, so right now they are hiding in their little hiding holes. You can also see that I have an amplifier up here, Hugh Kettner Tubemeister 18. You've maybe seen it in some of my other videos. Just got a good deal on it, and it's nice to have an actual tube amp here in the workshop with the speaker down here, instead of just relying on plugins, which I use most of the time whenever I actually play, which is not that often anymore. Now over here by the entryway, it's a bit dark, so it's not as great to film here, but I keep a lot more wood over here. I have all of my kind of guitar top overflow up here, like for example some nice Pale Moon ebony tops that you can see here, and a whole lot more all of these tops, if you want to see kind of what kind of woods I have in stock because you're thinking of maybe getting a guitar, you can all check them out on my website. I have almost all of them listed on the website in the kind of order process section. If you scroll all the way down, you can see most of the guitar tops. I also have all of my neck blanks here, all of the different pieces that I use to make my mostly multi-laminate necks. Down here, I keep some body blanks that are kind of not cut down yet, so they're too tall to be stored in my other place. So I just have some nice black limba and a guitar case. This guitar that is down here is the kind of Lyra inspired guitar. I just released a video about it on my main channel, so if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. Behind here, I also keep my kind of mesh table for the laser. It's just some expanded aluminum mesh, and it allows me to cut all the way through and have kind of a metal backer so I don't cut into my table. On the other side, I have more storage boxes as well as my dust collector. I'm not sure if I had the canister filter already in the last workshop tour, but that's definitely a mandatory upgrade if you get one of these. If you get one of these simpler bag style dust extractors, get the canister filter upgrade. It just filters a lot better, and you can simply turn this top handle and it kind of removes all of the dust that is stuck to it, and it sucks a lot better again. Above it, on this precariously leaning shelf, which used to have a support but no longer does, I keep all of my kind of finishing supplies, which I use for the spray finishing. I mostly use two-part finishes, so the hardeners and solvents and all of that stuff up here. I also have some kind of refill, restocking stuff up here, so just kind of general storage that gets filled up more and more. Next to it is my bandsaw. It's a Laguna 14BX, and it's been great overall. Not many complaints, and is essential for all of my guitar building. I use it to cut basically all of my rough stock, resaw the big builds of material down to nice thin guitar tops, make veneers on it, and just all around one of the most important tools in the luthier workshop. It also is big enough that if I move the guard all the way up, I can just about cut a full body width on it to resaw. I have to cut it close, but it just barely works. Next to it up here, I built a little storage shelf for all of the in-progress projects. You can see like some in-progress guitars here that I'm working on. So like here's a partial neck. It's mostly done, but it's still missing the frets and stuff, and my like bodies that are just partially done. You can also see an acoustic guitar that I started almost 2 years ago by now, and still have not really progressed in the last year on it. And all of these little bins here that you can see are numbered with the serial number of the guitar, and that's where I keep all of the small parts for that specific guitar, and just allows me to kind of keep track of everything and somewhat keep it sorted. Underneath here is a drum sander from Holtzmann as well. It works. I could not live without a drum sander, but it's not great, or like not perfect. Because it only is driven on this one side, you can lock it over here, but depending on if you lock it like this, just still, if you push down if you lock it, if you like pull up a bit if you lock it, it just kind of changes the angle slightly, and you can never really know if it's perfectly parallel. So you end up kind of creating not quite parallel surfaces, and if you then flip it around, you end up creating a bow in it. So you can't definitely chase your tail on it, but I've learned to kind of work with it. And I think it's a common issue with this type of machine, unless you go with a lot more sturdy model that has proper driven columns on both sides, you will always fight this issue. Next to it, conveniently out of frame, is a lot of cutoffs. For one, kind of trashed cutoffs that I'm just waiting to throw out, and on the bottom, more cutoffs that I'm saving for different things. There's so many cutoffs, but you kind of can't bring myself to throw out a big old piece of expensive wood, although I will likely not use any of these anytime soon. Finally, up here by the CNC, I think we glossed over this storage rack. Here's where I keep most of my body blanks for future builds, as well as some other like larger guitar tops that didn't fit in all the other places. You can also see the dust extraction hose for the CNC, and then the second one which goes out the window, which is for the laser. It doesn't work amazing, but it still helps. And with that, we are through. There are a couple of things that I keep not in here, but otherwise, like for different storage, like I keep all of my guitar cases that I had to buy in bulk out in the garage, as well as some of the parts for the spray booth I also keep in a different storage room because there was just not enough space in here anymore. But all of the guitar building is done in these 18 square meters, and I'm actually quite happy with what I'm able to achieve in this small space, but cannot wait to have a bit more breathing room, so I'm not constantly on top of myself, and can maybe get some bigger machines that will make my life easier. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this tour of my workshop. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I also made a videos about a lot of this stuff here. And if there's anything I didn't make a video about yet that you do want to see, well, leave a comment and I can get around to that now that this channel is more just workshop focused. I'm not afraid to make more niche and specific videos anymore. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to both channels. Remember, there's two now. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.